I'm sure you remember from our class, we read several things by Dr. Gary Klein, the creator of Premortem, and author of several really incredible books, one of which I remember we read in our class together, Brian, Sources of Power, which I thought was a great book. And we've had the opportunity to work with Dr. Klein quite a bit over the years since I was at the school. And, he and I were talking at the beginning of the pandemic. And one of the things that we were discussing is what advice do you give leaders right now? And, what he said at the time, and which I totally agreed with and still do, is that he said, there's two things that you can't do as a leader anymore. You can't wait to see how things sort out, because we're in a truly VUCA world now, where you can wait and see how today's problem resolves itself, but there's going to be another challenge tomorrow that you have to deal with then. So you can't wait this out. And then second, you can't make a decision and then hit the return button and expect that your plan is going to be executed, without any further inputs on your behalf as a leader. Instead, what you have to do, and it goes back to what I just said about probe, sense, and act, is what you have to do is feel your way forward like a blind man crossing the street, tapping your stick in front of you, looking to see if there's a pothole or an obstruction. And if there is, moving to the left, moving to the right till you get around it, and then, finding, kind of weaving your way through by tapping and testing and seeing. And what that looks like is recognizing that decision making isn't a linear process where you go through a series of steps to decide what decision you're going to make, and then you make your decision, and then you execute that decision and walk away and hope for the best. No, what you have to do is continue to monitor things. And this is something, interesting enough, was part of Alan's management strategy long before the pandemic. This is how he got Boeing through 9/11. It's how he got Ford through the global financial crisis, is recognizing that having the right plan is only part of the equation, that you have to constantly be adjusting that plan, not changing the plan, but adjusting how you achieve those plan targets, those plan goals, as the environment around you changes. And that's particularly true of entrepreneurs. So you need to approach things with an open mind, and I love the term you use, Brian, as a learning organization. Even if you're a business of one, you can still be a learning organization. You can still approach things with a learning mindset. And where you get into problems is people who think that they've created this perfect strategy, and that all they have to do is hit the big red button and then stand back and watch their dreams be realized. It's not how things work.
No, in fact, we're talking about that in our global competitive strategy class as well. And it's interesting to see, as I was doing my my internship hunt for this summer between my 2 years at the school here, I was faced looking at a lot of different companies that have had strategies that have been in place for years,
right,
that have gone fairly unchanged.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the world is constantly changing around them. And I can't help but think, if I'm going to go and do an internship there, yeah, I'll gain a lot of experience, but I don't know that I would want to be there full time. That's kind of the reason why I've been looking at this entrepreneurial piece, is because some companies are such legacy companies that they are unwilling to look at themselves, like you mentioned with your company, right? That's a perfect example of how you have an iterative process,
mm-hmm.
probably even a time scheduled each year. You said
mm-hmm.
in
each quarter, in our case.
Each quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To really look at yourselves and grow and evolve, realizing that, like you said, I mean, the business world is a vacuum, right? Everything's high velocity. Everybody's sharing the same information. It's what is over the horizon and what opportunities exist that companies are aligning themselves to move to.